Hi, I'm Annie Ulichny, and I want to thank you for joining in for some meditation and mindfulness practices. Today is going to be part one of part two. Today we're going to practice healing our stress, and this is part one. So healing our stress is about connecting the most essential ingredients within ourselves together and bringing relief to ourselves when things get stressful, when we feel stress. And so there's three pieces, three important components here that we'll talk about and practice today and then also next week. Today we're going to practice with connecting the mind, the brain, and the body. So there's three B's. There's the brain, the body, and the breath. We're going to get to the breath next week, but today we're going to connect the brain, the mind, and the body together to heal our stress. That's the essential ingredients that we can learn about ourselves, know more about how we can help ourselves in small ways every day, and feel better, feel calmer, more at peace, a readiness for anything kind of a thing. So I'm going to start standing up, but I encourage you to keep seated if that's comfortable for you, with your feet flat on the floor and sitting in a comfortable and supportive chair. And I'm going to just show us together what we would do if you decide you want to try this standing up. One of the most excellent ways to heal our stress from a body's perspective is shaking. And so shaking is something that we'll start to do with our hands. You're just going to shake, and shaking water off the ends of your fingers, kind of a shake. Go as fast or slow as your body is telling you to do. Just start to feel the vibrations and find a rhythm of shaking. If you're seated, you can close your eyes with this. If you're standing, please keep your eyes open for balance. And then what we're going to do is also just add a little bit of body up and down. So very gentle knees, very gentle movement of the whole torso, and shake the whole body. If balance is an issue, I encourage you to stay seated for all of this. You'll get a wonderful benefit. And then we're going to tap our heels. You can do this seated. So we feel a very, very light, very gentle tapping of the back of our heels. And we're communicating to the body by doing this shaking. You can tap your heels if you're seated or standing if you prefer. I want you to really follow the guide of what your body is telling you you can do today. You can move your hands down by your sides a little bit and really also feel this relaxation now in the shoulders as you kind of drop everything down. You can do this if you're seated in a chair, or your arms on each side of the chair. And the other important component is staying really focused on what the body is doing in this rhythm, where we're not letting our thinking mind take us to our to-do list or something that's happening this afternoon or tomorrow or yesterday. Stay really present right here while we shake. Going at your own pace and speed, softer, faster, finding your rhythm. Our bodies like rhythm. So we're helping Release the tension and finding a new rhythm. Okay, so we can slowly, gently stop. Take a seat if you've been standing. If you're seated, we can close our eyes if you haven't done that. Come into a comfortable posture. We're going to breathe in and out of the nose as much as possible. Have our eyes closed down. Feeling the tingling in the body now. Feeling through the fingers and the hands, there's probably a very obvious sensation of tingling, aliveness. Feels like it's been described as like a bubbly, fizzy kind of sensation. Notice where we can feel that aliveness. And can really feel it. Experience this shimmery quality, this alive electrical quality running through us. And just like if we're cutting something in the kitchen and we cut a finger, we take time to wash our finger off, very carefully dry it, make sure that the blood is all cleaned off if it happens to bleed. We do go through this very specific routine and intentional care when we have a cut such as that in the kitchen. And then we get Band-Aid out or maybe ointment and very carefully wrap it up to protect it. The same kind of thing applies here. We can heal our own internal stress, our body's stress, with intentional care and focus. So our thinking mind might take us into all kinds of thoughts about yesterday and tomorrow. But really right now, our job is to bring our focus, our mind's ability to focus, and we're bringing it into our own body to heal, just like if we were wrapping a Band-Aid on a cut. And our nervous system, we're releasing the stress response from our nervous system, releasing it, bringing us back into a rest response, a calm, alert, aware response within the body. That's what we communicate through the shaking, and it's also what we communicate when we sit in a stillness pattern like we are now, feeling in the body. And then we start to go deeper into the body and really experience and learn where we hold pockets of tension. And when we're in that stress response, we tend to clamp down, clench throughout the body, feel tense and tight as a way to, it's like survival mode. It's a protection mode. And so that's what the body is doing when it's in a stress response. So now with our focus, we're going to take our focus and like we're shining a flashlight through our body, we're using our focus and really connecting it throughout our body, really linking and connecting our focus into deeply within. And this will release this tightness, release this stress response tension, and bring us back into a rest response. So we'll start with our feet. Imagine we're shining a flashlight within our feet. Really feeling the sensations with our focus. And we're really, even though the body is rhythmically breathing, we're really connecting through this still, focused, present attention right now. Bring all of our focus into our feet, really feeling a tingling. If there's any little pockets of tension, recognize with a sense of curiosity where we hold on to this tension. Because if we can feel it today, there's a good chance that it might be there at other times too. Whenever we're having any kind of stress response within the body, or feeling any kind of angst, overwhelm. These pockets of tension tend to flare up within us, and the more familiar we become with them, the more we're able to heal it. So we'll really focus in the feet, noticing the sensations that are there, bring all of our attention there, and then travel through the lower leg, and the knees, and the thighs, recognizing where we might hold this tightness, noticing you might still experience this tingling sensation from the shaking, but you might also start to pick up different pockets of tension and tightness, perhaps in the joints, in the knees, noticing where they are and really seeing if we can come up a little more closely with our focus, bring our attention right up to anything that becomes obvious and tight and clenched. Just really explore that sensation with our focus. And then come up through the pelvis, noticing this pressure of our sit bones and our backside against the seat that we're on, this contact here. And then where there might be this tension. As an example, I can feel this dull aching in my lower back right now. And I can come up with curiosity, an attitude of curiosity, and really explore this tightness. Using my focus, really feeling the texture of it. I don't really need to go into a story about why it's there. I can just feel these sensations, feel this dull ache, and it's more on one side than the other, and it has kind of this dull, consistent feel to it. Maybe notice the texture and the way it shows up for you if you're recognizing any of these pockets for yourself. And the closer I get to it, the more I actually start to notice as I bring my focus, this flashlight kind of experience, bring my focus and connect it into this tension and this gripping that's in my lower back. It can start to release, and it kind of changes shape. Some of the pain subsides, the ache. There's a shift in how it feels. And then we can come up through our whole torso now. Again, just looking, experiencing for yourself where we might hold on tension in our own unique ways. Feeling through the rib cage, the chest, up to the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the mid-back, along the spine. And if we get pulled into thoughts, just see if you can really direct your focus like it's a flashlight. Bring it into the body where you might feel these pockets of tension. Another one that's showing up for me right now, just as an example for you, is on my rib cage. And it feels, there's one very specific place along my rib cage. I can notice this tightness. And I have experienced this before. And again, just like if I had a cut on my finger, I can feel this stress tightness in my body. And with my focus, I can just be more curious about the textures of this achiness. It's not terribly painful, but I notice it. I can come up almost with my focus and feel like I can touch it. I can get that close to it once I really start to get a feel for how I can connect this present focus into tension in the body. And as I'm really just trying to stay concentrated and focused in my rib cage area, as to use that example, I notice this shift in sensations. It's still there, I feel it, but it has definitely shifted and it's softened a bit, it's opened a little bit, not completely. Sometimes healing, just like with cuts, it takes time. And it takes our own curiosity and care for ourselves. So we can come up, continue to look through our body. We all carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. I imagine you could experience that for yourselves. We tend to shield ourselves when we feel any kind of stress by clenching in our shoulders. It's so common. And maybe down our arms, feeling any obvious sensations, noticing through the fingers, any achiness. It might be a physical condition that we're experiencing, but then where we're vulnerable in a physical condition, this stress response overlay may also add and compound some discomfort. So this is a way to release pain in addition to releasing stress. Noticing in our shoulders, down our arms and hands for ourselves. Really shining a flashlight of our focus, connecting it into the body, deeply in the body, feeling what's happening. Staying really present here. We could come up into our throat and the back of our neck. Our throat is also another place where we might feel this raw, tight, knotted sensation as a part of a stress response, an overwhelm response. We could bring this flashlight of our focus right here and just connect them. Connect the body with our mind's ability to focus. Coming up through the face, in the jaw, just maybe even move your lower jaw just a tiny bit. Notice if there is any tightness or clenching, holding, gripping going on in the jaw. Through even the ears and the temple, the eyes, around the eyes and the eyebrow and the forehead, with all of the screens that we watch and all of the distractions that are a part of our lives. We might feel this tension filled in pockets along our face. Can you come up and touch with your focus one of these places, one of these pockets? And perhaps we could feel a slight shift, a melting, a dissolving of that tightness, that clenching. And come back to the full body now. Scan through again with our focus, this kind of flashlight effect where we can shine a light inside of ourselves into these obvious places of stress, tension, connecting our brain to our body. Can we just do a final survey here of the body and notice, how are we feeling? And are there any additional places that are calling for some attention? Stay really present, as if you're tending to a wound on your skin. See if we can tend to that wound within. Healing the overwhelm, the anxious, the restlessness, the stress. Really soothing, calming ourselves through connecting the brain with the body. So we can use these practices, the shaking and focusing on our pockets of tension in a still, kind of quiet place, just for a few minutes a day. It will really encourage the stress response to move in and shift into the nervous system's rest response, rest, alert, ready response. And next week, we will pay attention and focus on connecting our breath with our brain. So it's the 3 B's. We focus on ourselves to heal ourselves with the brain, the body, and the breath. And next week, the breath and the brain is where we go. I'm wishing you a wonderful, happy, healthy day. Thank you so much.